What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're going to be getting this Gen Power 8 horsepower engine up and running. But to be honest, I think first we got to give it a cleaning, because as you guys can see, it is very dusty and very dirty. It's been sitting in the garage forever. So I'm going to take it, we're going to clean it. I'm going to do that off camera because it's kind of boring, but then we're going to get to fixing this thing. So let's clean it. Now that we got this thing outside and nice and clean, I'm going to tell you all the tools you need for this job. Is like a Phillips, a flathead, a set of these E-Torques. Now you can use whatever set you want. I have a link in the description for this and a video if you guys want to check that out. All we need is the E5 really. And whatever driver you have. Mine's a 4th inch, so I got a 4th inch and a 3/8, so we're gonna use that. But once you take off the air filter box, which I already did for it to show the E-Torques, once you get that all set and done, we're just gonna finish it off and just pull these out. Now you are gonna need a pair of needle nose pliers, which I have right now. So you will need a pair of needle nose pliers. We'll use those later. But like I said, we're just gonna take this off, and having that E-Torque set's gonna make this a lot easier than having to pinch these and destroy them. So we're gonna put these aside, and now we take our needle nose pliers. I guess we could have took off the fuel line first. Probably would have made it a little easier, but I like to do things the hard way. I might change this fuel line, it's real tough. So from up here, we'll remove this idle control clip and spring, and just lay that aside. Pull this down, and now get this fuel line off. There we go. And just like that, we have the carburetor off and ready to disassemble. Is that gas or soapy water? Soapy water. So let's take this carburetor off. We're not going to use anything special to clean this. We're just going to use carburetor cleaner. So we're going to take that apart right now. Now it's time for the great debate. Which carburetor cleaner should I use? What brand is the best? Well, to be honest, I'd be using SuperTech from Walmart if they had any, but I got Stable. That's something you get like at Harbor Freight, and I got Gum Out. That's something you get at AutoZone or Home Depot. So just use whatever you want, because it doesn't really matter. And that is not a 10, that's an 11. Yes, never let people tell you that your brand that you like to use is wrong, because if it's carburetor cleaner, it works. That's what I always say. So we got the nut off, crack that open. This thing just hasn't had gas in it in a long time, and probably just needs a full deep cleaning. So that's what we're doing today. We're not going to use the Stable, it's almost out. You know what, I guess I'll just waste the Stable. I don't like the way the Stable sprays, so I guess there is a preference on lid quality. I just don't like the way this one sprays. Let me know if you guys like to wear gloves or something when you guys do this kind of work. I don't. I feel it impedes my process. Well, see, no gas was coming out. No. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, I feel like gloves impede. I wear safety glasses like when I'm doing this. Because carburetor cleaner in the eye, you don't have to remove this plate, by the way. Carburetor cleaner in the eye is not a fun experience at all. And I'm pretty sure every small engine mechanic has had that happen. I'm trying to see if it's going through there, but I don't think I'm actually getting it in there. There we go. Nice and pretty. Now I am going to remove this screw right here and spray in there. Let me just get the top here. And let me get in these orifice right here. How are you guys liking the POV? If you guys made it this far, hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to leave a like. It's free. It helps out the channel. Some people want to see the cleaning of the carburetor. So I always add timestamps if you guys ever want to skip it. But some people like to see how it's taken apart, what you need to take apart. Like I said, I don't need to remove this, and I don't need to remove this at all. This is airflow mixture. This is the pilot screw. This is the idle. Don't need to fuck with any of those other two. But we do need to spray up in here and just make sure that that's nice and clean. And just clean the outside because we're nice people. Now we get inside the bowl here. That doesn't have to be perfect. We spray inside the pilot needle. And now from there, we just put it back together. So let's do that now. And just like that, the carburetor is back together. See how good this gum out sprays? Just the force. This really didn't have that much power, and this still has a lot in it. This is brand new, obviously, so I always like to just clean it around. So let's go put this back on the machine, shall we? Okay, here we are. We're gonna put the fuel line back on. Lift this bad boy up. Put this gasket, remember this part, shields between the hot muffler and the carburetor just to protect it a little bit from the heat. So as we lift this up, we'll put the, let me make sure you guys are seeing this. We'll put that clip back in there. This part's really easy, and the spring's a pain in the ass sometimes. I guess you could do the spring first. Now if you're thinking, hey, my carburetor lost that plastic bit, on this carburetor, it actually doesn't need that plastic bit that holds, normally throttles in, the throttle linkage in. You know what? Because it's hooked and it doesn't really move that much, it's not gonna come out. So it doesn't really need that plastic bit. Some of them just don't come with it. This one probably did come with one, but just got lost over time. So now that we got that, we'll put this gasket back on and feed in our 2 bolts here. I love messing with these old generators. They're pretty much bulletproof. I guarantee this thing's gonna start with just that basic cleaning. Now you can throw this thing in the ultrasonic cleaner if you have one. I know a lot of people do not have one. Harbor Freight now has a good one, so I need to buy that and check that out. Go ahead and put this fuel clamp back on. Now if you do have gas in this machine, you're not going to be able to check for leaks because this uses a fuel pump. I know it's surprising to see this old generator actually uses a fuel pump, but the fuel pump's right here. So that's the only thing that I'm ever worried about when I work on these, is that failing, because I don't know, I just don't think that fuel pump's that good. So now from here, all we gotta do is bust out that E-Torque 5. And tighten these puppies down. Wrong way. I wish I would have got these things sooner, because that makes these things a lot easier to do. And there we go, carburetor's back on. Now before I put the air filter back on, I'm just gonna pour some gas in it, flip the switch to on. That switch doesn't feel like it's clicking on and off, so hopefully that works. Let me pull the handle. Oh, that has good compression. You know what, let's put the switch to on, spray a little carburetor clean in there and see if it fires up. I want to oil this real quick. So let me get my stuff together. Okay, first things first, I'm going to put a little oil in all the spinny parts of the recoil here. Yeah, that thing has good compression. You could hear that. Then we'll spray a little bit of this carburetor cleaner. Flip the switch to on. See if we at least have spark and stuff. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So you know what I'm actually going to do now? I'm going to put the air cleaner back on. And then we're going to go get gas and make sure this thing starts and fires and stays running. Even plug in the air compressor, make sure it has power. If you guys are wondering how to put the cover back on, I'll go ahead and walk you through that now. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna get it on, and we're gonna make sure the choke's working. On, off, on, off. Yeah, that's run, that's off. Okay, choke's on. Now from here, we gotta take this rubber piece in the back. I hope you guys can see that. Probably not, it's hard to see. And once you just lock that into place, you take your 11 bolts, and you're gonna thread them on to your front plate and tighten them down. Confirm the choke still works. Perfect. Now you put your air filter and your air filter cover. That goes into 4 clamps on the side. And then it's 2 flatheads or 8s. If you want to go a little faster, you can use an 8mm. But we got the flathead out, so let's just use it. Now we're gonna add the gas and put this thing to choke and try to start this bad boy. Now we are gonna have to pull it 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 even, just to get that gas from the fuel pump into the carburetor. And then it should fire right up. Okay, before you do all that, make sure you're not an idiot like me. This one actually has a fuel shutoff down here. Let's see if we can see that. Right there. There's the fuel shut off, and it was on the off position. So let's turn the fuel to the on position. Now I can see fuel going in there. So before we do the carburetor cleaner, now we'll put it on choke and try it. Always check. I didn't know this one had a fuel shut off with a fuel pump, so hey, good for them. Nope, still gonna jump it. But now we know there's fuel. Oh. I know it's gonna start now, but will it stay running? Now, for those of you wondering, it smoked because I put a lot of oil in there when I was cleaning it and making sure everything was up and up. So it smoked at first. So now it's just blowing out the PB blaster, the rest of it. It started surging because we just cleaned the carburetor, so it was plumb dry. Once it actually got to the point where there was plenty of gas in there, it stayed running nice and smooth. So that's why it smoked and that's why it surged. But as you guys see now, it's 100% good to go. Just got to put the air filter back on and take it to the customer. And you know what? For fun, we're going to figure out how loud this thing is. So give me 1 second. If you ever wonder why a lot of technicians wear earplugs sometimes, is because certain machines are loud, like this old generator. Now they say around 80 decibels is too loud for your ears, actually 70. But just talking, as you see, a normal conversation is about 60 to 70 decibels. So if this thing goes over 80, it's prolonged use is bad for your hearing. So we'll turn the switch back to on. As you see, it started right up, didn't smoke a bunch, nothing. So That's why if you're testing this thing for a long time, you want to make sure you are wearing ear protection. So we got one more thing to do, just check if it's making power. So we got a small air compressor right there, and we're just gonna see if it turns on. That thing's loud as shit too, so you'll be able to hear it. We got the switch on. We might not need to choke it. That was weird. The rope was like disengaged for a second. Let's choke it. Hell yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, check out this video right here. You're gonna love it. And subscribe. Thank you for watching.